Hello, my name is Suzanne Lay. I am a CPA and an assistant professor at Mesa State College in Grand Junction, Colorado. I'm going to talk to you today about experiential learning for accounting students. My focus will be on the Accounting Information Systems course. If you were to research the content of AIS courses or Accounting Information Systems courses, you'll quickly learn that there is very little consistency in those courses across colleges and universities. The content is quite diverse. There is a lack of standardized curriculum for the course, and if you were to go and review online syllabi for these courses, you'll find that it varies greatly in terms of what the faculty will focus on in these classes. One thing that I did find in my research, the American Accounting Association, the Accounting Education Commission, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Albrecht and Sack, the Bedford Committee, and others have all concurred that U.S. accounting educators and practitioners have long agreed that the AIS course should enable students to become more proficient in using accounting information systems. The problem is many students seem to miss the purpose of the course or don't understand the purpose of the course. Students would often question the value of the Accounting Information System course in relation to the overall accounting undergraduate program, didn't recognize the value of the course, and would raise questions as to why it's required and what accountants really need to know about accounting information systems. So my focus began on how to engage these students, how to make sure that these students understood how the accounting information system fits into their education, and I wanted to give them some real accounting experience which would hopefully result in a better awareness of what the accounting information system must do. I began that focus by looking at active learning. Wikipedia defines active learning as an umbrella term that refers to several models of instruction that focus the responsibility of learning on the learner. It's basically a shift of responsibility to the learner that requires the student to become more involved in the learning process rather than passively absorbing what is provided to them by the instructor. And theoretically, a deeper level of knowledge and recall should result. One type of active learning that's advocated by many is actually learning outside the classroom in the form of student consulting projects or learning through experience, which is called experiential learning. And in my case, I was focused on student consultancy projects in which the student, or in my case, a team of students, would undertake real business consultancy. Many graduate programs will offer experiential learning projects. However, most undergraduate programs don't, and therefore many undergraduate students may lack real business experience unless these projects become more available to them. So in looking at experiential learning, I read specifically from Sims and Sims about 3 specific advantages. The first was students involved in experiential learning and are active and responsible for their own learning will be able to adapt to different learning environments with less difficulty. It also requires that the faculty be more up to date on the latest topics in their field as well as teaching and learning trends. And it would likely improve the reputation of the institution and help you to grow the program. So my experiential learning came in the form of consulting projects where my accounting information students would provide accounting services to small businesses. And I was focused on their development of critical thinking skills and problem solving skills and their ability to function effectively in groups. I wanted to provide them something hands-on, something that would allow them to experience what they are learning. They're reading about ideas, they're hearing about ideas from their professors, but I wanted them to be able to experience that in a more hands-on way. I also gave them an opportunity at the end to reflect on what they learned. They were able to tell me how this experience affected their overall learning in the program. One word of caution, if you are to engage in an experiential learning project like this, it does require a significant amount of time from the professor, both in terms of finding the appropriate business clients for your students to work with, as well as just the time it takes to oversee the students in the project. When I wanted to add experiential learning to the AIS course, I began by believing that students would benefit from some hands-on experience using a specific general ledger package to process the basic business transactions that they've been learning about. And I surveyed many of the public accounting firms that hire a significant number of our program's graduates each year, and they indicated to me that QuickBooks was probably a good place to start, in that it's a very widely used software and it's a good starting tool for the students. I decided that I would do consulting projects with small business clients, and I've done this over a 2-year period. The first year, the client was a salon, and in year 2, I had 2 clients, a handyman service and a juice bar, which is actually a larger scale experiential learning project in which it's a student-run juice bar on our college campus. One thing that is really cool about this type of project is it's a win-win type of situation. There's certainly a benefit for the students because it gives them an opportunity to work out anxieties about working in a real business situation, and it can help them to develop their accounting experience. But it's also very beneficial to the business as well because they can receive free consulting services that they may not otherwise be able to afford. In the case of my clients, they were able to receive services that were supervised by a CPA that they probably could not have paid for if they needed to. One author indicated that, and this was Cynthia Zalwin in 2009, indicated that business school undergraduate and graduate students are an overlooked resource for small businesses, especially those looking for an edge during a lingering recession. And certainly our businesses are in a lingering recession at this point. The project consisted of the students using a general ledger package to process basic business transactions. They were to set up the new business in QuickBooks, including the chart of accounts, record initial owner contributions and startup transactions, develop basic monthly reports and recurring transactions and memorize them in QuickBooks for the owner to easily replicate later. They were also to provide a basic user manual as well as to make written recommendations on proper internal controls for the new business to use. I found that the project was very well received by students. The students worked in groups to do this project, but they overwhelmingly responded favorably to it in both years. Some of the comments that students indicated they liked, one student liked using all the accounting knowledge we've learned in the classroom in a real-life situation. Another commented that they liked the real-life feel of the project and it gave them a chance to leave the books and get some real experience, which they appreciated. Overwhelmingly, when surveyed, the students responded that they either agreed or strongly agreed to the following 2 sentences. They agreed and strongly agreed, for the most part, to the client consulting project enhanced my understanding of QuickBooks and improved my ability to apply the concepts I learned in the workbook. They also responded overwhelmingly in favor of the statement, I enjoyed taking on a real-life business project instead of just relying on written cases. There are some problems associated with it. One is obviously there is a cost. Anytime you have software that new versions come out like QuickBooks every year, it is costly to keep your computer labs up to date, which is a problem. You have the normal group work issues where students have varying schedules or different personalities that they may or may not get along well, and that's certainly an issue for them as well as some of the gray areas. Students would indicate that it was different from a textbook case problem where all of the pieces of the puzzle they needed were right there. Sometimes not only did they have to find the answer, they also had to figure out, well, what's the question to start with, and that was difficult for them. The next thing was client participation was crucial. In year 1, my salon client really wasn't as involved as she should have been and left our class unable to finish the project completely, and that was quite frustrating on both my part and on the part of the students. So in conclusion, overwhelmingly, I think my students were more engaged. I no longer get the question of why are we in this class. They seemed to really enjoy the class and really got into the project. The choice of client is definitely critical to the success. I found that I needed to make sure that I chose the right project and screen them well as to make sure that I used a written formal engagement letter in year 2 and in ongoing years to make sure my client understood the expectations and we were all on the same page. One student, I think, summarized the project very well with the following statement. He or she said, I like the fact that we got a small taste of what accounting is all about. It was one of the most challenging tasks I have had to tackle so far. Thanks for listening.